You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank.
Tampa Bay, this season, was a whirlwind.
The biggest story in the entire sports world is coming to shape in real time here.
Looking forward to the opportunity to learn from the new coaches and the new players that I'll be playing with. I'm going to go out and give everything I got.
I'm hoping for an NFL season, certainly, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet.
We dip our toes into the real world events, and this weekend sticking to sports became almost impossible to do.
This is what we got to do to win. Discipline, adaptability. This is life now.
With all that we faced this season, giving up was never an option. And while we raise the flags for many reasons, we raise them as one. We raise them for the lifers and for those who joined the fight. We raise them for the icons, the ones who showed us the way. We raise them with swagger and for the late game daggers. And all the cannon fire along the way.
Here's Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski. Back again.
We raise them through the heartbreak because it makes the victories even sweeter.
I'm so proud of Buck Nation for staying with us, stepping up, getting loud. It's pretty good, don't it?
We raise them for you, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history.
You were there every step of the way, and together, we made history.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank. I'm your host, and what a great show we have for you this evening. For those of you that are listening on several different platforms, whether it's Buccaneers, USF, whatever platform it may be, if you would please do me a favor and real quickly share this to your timeline, whether it's your timeline, a friend's timeline, whoever's timeline it might be. If you can please go ahead and share that. Tonight we got some breaking news out of Tampa Bay, which we will talk about in one moment. We're also going to have former New England Patriot running back during Super Bowl 20, Tony Collins, is going to be joining us live in about 25 minutes. And then we're going to end the show talking about the USF women's basketball team who will play in the NCAA women's tournament this upcoming Sunday night, I believe at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time versus Washington State. So lots and lots to get to on this great, I believe we can say it is a Wednesday night. And already during this amazing time span of free agency, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are staying busy. Started earlier today with Aaron Stinney being re-signed to a one-year deal. And for those of you that have not heard, just coming down the pipes, it is a final deal that Ryan Suckup has re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is a 3-year, $12 million deal. $6.25 million is guaranteed. He will get $8.25 million the first 2 years of the contract. So I do want to let you know that. I also want to welcome some New England Patriot fans on with us. Eric, my good buddy from Gainesville is on. If you guys will please do me a favor, leave some comments, share your thoughts, let me know what you think. That's what you see me doing as I'm reading some of these things. But adding Ryan Suckup what a career year. We talked all year about Ryan Suckup being the unsung hero, everything he's done for this team, and it pretty much went under the gun. But the good thing is, if they're not talking about your field goal kicker, it's usually a good thing. And it was a good thing this Super Bowl year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as there was nobody as consistent in the whole league as Ryan Suckup. You know, we talked about free agency, and I'm going to arrow this down a little bit here. And, you know, when free agency started up, and once again, for those of you just joining, I'm sorry, but we just had a bunch of people join us. Ryan Suckup, breaking news, at a $1 place, has signed a 3-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is valued at $12 million, with $6.25 million being guaranteed. But, you know, when we talked about free agency at the beginning of the year, we talked about, you know, some of the Bucs free agent. I'm going to make this a little larger so all the Buccaneer fans can see it. And these was some of the, let me see if I can raise this up a little bit more. I think, let me move this down a little bit. All right, there we go. I went ahead and I talked about some of the free agencies, the key free agency that the Bucs need to sign this year in order to be able to stay competitive and battle for another Super Bowl. When you look at this stuff, you see that Chris Godwin and Fournette are re-signed. You see that Barrett and Levante David are re-signed. Now, as far as Leonard Fournette goes, and as far as Antonio Brown goes, I don't think those guys are as necessarily as big of a need as we all think they need to be. I think they're important, but it's not a do-or-die situation with these guys. Antonio Brown, there's other receivers out there that you can get that can play the same role. That's number one. Remember, guys, we have Chris Godwin. Now, we have Mike Evans now. We have Tyler Johnson, who did not get a lot of time to play last year. We are stacked at the tight end position with O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, and newly re-signed 1-year, $10 million contract of Rob Gronkowski. So offensively, we are not hurting. When you look in the backfield, you know, Rondé Barber is probably going to be our guy next year, and they're going to need a second back to compensate for him. If you don't get playoff Lenny, who, don't get me wrong, he did a great job in the playoffs, but that's all he was good for. He didn't have a regular good season. You got other backs out there like a James Conner and a Adrian Peterson who will do just as well, if not possibly better, throughout the season. Remember, there's also LaShawn McCoy, who does not have a contract. But, you know, when we look at these guys, let's look at who the Buccaneers have re-signed so far. As I move this stuff around, thank you. But when you look at the Bucs and you look at the free agency and the frenzy that they're going through, they've signed now Shaq Barrett, great sign. Signed Levante David, Tanner Hudson, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Aaron Stinney was today, Patrick O'Connor, Rob Gronkowski, Kevin Minter, and now add Ryan Suckup to that equation. But, you know, when I look at this team, yes, you would like to get in Ndamukong Suh. But a big question out there is going to be, how much money is Ndamukong Suh worth? He keeps signing these 1-year contracts. Or is it better off to bring possibly a Gerald McCoy back on a 1 or 2 year contract at a little bit less of a rate than a Dominic Sue? Those are the questions that the Bucs have to decide. But late word out of One Buck Place, after the signing of Ryan Suckup tonight, they are still in talks with Dominic Sue. They are trying to get him to sign a one-year deal. And rumor has it now that Leonard Fournette is being pursued by the Seattle Seahawks, and that the Bucs are very interested in James White from the New England Patriots. They're very, very interested. Obviously, he's played with Tom Brady before. Tom Brady loves him. So we will see what happens there. But the one thing that we're missing, guys, and nobody's talking about it because Tom Brady doesn't seem to get hurt, is we currently don't have a backup quarterback, I think, if I'm correct, in place if Tom Brady gets hurt. Blaine Gabbert is a free agent. Ryan Griffin is a free agent. Right now, are the Buccaneers in need of a backup quarterback? And if that answer is yes, what quality of a backup quarterback are you looking for that you can afford? I mean, the team has been able to do magical stuff with this salary cap and taken from upcoming years to go ahead and afford this team. But the question is going to be, if Brady goes down, who is our quarterback? The answer to that question right now is no one. So, that's going to be a big question. I think the chances, one of the fans just asked me, what do you think the chances are? All right, I'm just reading the whole question of getting James White. It's a very good chance. If they can get him at a rate that is affordable, they will sign James White. But just understand that he's not going to be the main back on this team. Ronald Jones is going to be the main back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, if you're just joining us once again, it was just reported right before the show came on, Ryan Suckup, Buccaneer kicker, has re-signed a 3-year contract with the Buccaneers at $12 million for 3 years, $6.25 guaranteed, $8.25 million over the first 2 years. So we are happy to report that the best kicker is going to be playing along the best quarterback in the NFL again in Tampa, Florida. So some great, great, great news there. But as far as Antonio Brown, a lot of folks asking, Antonio Brown is a terrific receiver, but he is a want. He's not a need. You got to know the difference. Godwin was a need. Okay? Shaq Barrett was a need. Levante David was a need. But as far as Antonio Brown, that is a want. That is somebody that just stabilizes and gives you extra security and extra depth if something should go on with any of these receivers throughout the year. Godwin got hurt last year. Evans, we all saw that knee tweak, all got scared about him in the playoffs. So this is going to be something that is you want to watch out for and see what happens. But the Buccaneers are saying that they want every single person back, including Antonio Brown. So the next couple of days are going to be very interesting. The Bucs didn't want anybody to go through free agency. Obviously, the time is here. Leonard could do better somewhere else, get more playing time, but it'll be an exciting next couple of days. I think you could know by tomorrow evening that it would be very, very possible to see the Bucs have another major signing. Don't be surprised if that's either A, Antonio Brown, or B, James White of the New England Patriots. So we'll keep you abreast of the situation as it goes on. But as of now, Ryan Suckup and Aaron Stinney have both agreed to terms. Stinney on a 1-year deal, and of course Ryan Suckup on a 3-year deal. Let me just remove some of these. But, when you listen to the Patriots, I was just said Patriots. When you listen to some of these guys that have re-signed, let's go ahead and listen to who I call the most underrated by far player in the NFL, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Let's go ahead and listen to Lavonte David and him talk about the signing of his new deal.
Hey, Lavonte, congratulations on the new deal. I'm just wondering, obviously you could have gone into free agency, maybe gotten a lot more money or some more money. Just your decision to come back and how much of the opportunity to keep these guys together and repeat as world champions drove that?
Yeah, it was a lot of things that went into this. I mean, a lot of strategizing, a lot of looking at the bigger picture, talking with my family, talking with friends. We've been going back and forth with the negotiations for a while. I mean, it started. I want to say 2.5 weeks. We've been going back and forth, and we finally came to agreement. Honestly, all in all, I didn't want to go nowhere. I mean, I have a legacy here that I'm trying to chase, and I'm trying to make trying to stamp. And I'm just trying to win more Super Bowls, dealing with all the stuff that I dealt with, previous 8 years. And then it's finally you win one and then finally up and leave. I'm like, nah, man, I want to keep on winning, man. This, this team, this organization, this city deserves a lot more. And I want to be a part of it. And, me and my camp, felt everything, from both sides was a fair deal. And we went on ahead and took it.
And when you see Tom Brady do what he did today, he extended his deal by a year and made it cap friendly as you did with some voidable years. Does that just make you feel like, hey, we're all in this for one thing right now?
Yeah, I definitely do, man. Tom is one of those great guys who understands that it takes a whole village to win. And it takes a team, a group of guys to win football games. And me, the same thing. I'm all about team, man. I'm doing what I can, do what I take, do what it takes to, hopefully get everybody back and go do this thing again. Like I said before, man, I said a lot of times, man, the bond that we had, the bond that we shared this year, and it was just none like no other. I mean, with the coaching staff included, everybody's a real tight knit group, and it's something that I haven't been around in a while, and it's something that I definitely want to be a part of.
Next, we'll go to Greg Auman.
Hey, Lavonte, you're kind of the first guy from this group to stay on board. I mean, Godwin probably didn't have as much of a choice as you did in the matter. So, I mean, to be the first one to say, hey, there might be better offers out there, but you want to be back. How much do you start lobbying the rest? Are you texting guys, all these other free agents, let them know you want them to do the same thing?
I haven't been in real contact with other guys. I mean, obviously, I talked to Devin, I talked to Kevin, I talked to, people in my group, so, guys like that, just saying, I want to come back. I want to be a Buck, and I want to continue to play with you guys. But everybody else, I don't really know what exactly they got going on, what's their mindset and stuff like that. Other people, ideas may be different than mine. Other people's motives may be different than mine. You never know, but I do know everybody do want to come back and continue to play for this organization because they, like I just said, man, I feel like, they feel like that we have a real tight group and we can do this thing a lot more times. So, man, I hope everything goes, where how we want it to go, but you just never know, man. You just gotta, let those guys just beat them
And that was Lavonte David talking about his new contract. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about 5 minutes away from having former New England Patriot who played in Super Bowl 20, Tony Collins, on with us. Before we do get Tony on, I want to go ahead and play a clip. We talked about Lavonte David, and one of the biggest acquisitions, I think, on the defense, and I talked about this, defense wins championships. If defense does win championships, and for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's no question that when the game was on the line in this Super Bowl, the defense stood up and helped win this game. And that's no discredit towards Tom Brady. But like I tell people, if defense wins championships, you need to sign your defensive players first when it comes to free agency. And with the exception of maybe Godwin, because he was a franchise tag, different situation, that's exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. They got Kevin Minter re-signed for a year. They got Levante David re-signed. They got Shaq Barrett re-signed, and they're currently working on a Dominic Sue. Let's go here and let's hear what Shaq Barrett had to say about his 4-year deal.
When this process started, did you have any fears that they may franchise you again? And how much, I mean, we hear about Super Bowls. You won 2 of them now. How much about the chance to win another one was really in your mind when you did this deal?
So I wasn't really worried about being franchise tagged. Jason Light was really honest and stuck to his word the whole time. He said he's going to work to try to get something long-term done. And that's what he was able to do. And after winning the Super Bowl, it was always like, that's what it's about to me for sure. I just love the feel of and the atmosphere, most definitely at a parade. Just like everything that goes into it is just so much fun to be able to celebrate with fans like that and have the family on a boat. It was amazing, man. And like we got all the makings to do it again. So we just got to put the work in again and not rest and just keep being hungry, and we'll be able to be in a good place at the end of the year next year.
Sure. Thanks.
We'll go over to Greg Allman.
Hey, Shaq, congratulations. I know your focus had been on staying here in Tampa, but just wanted to ask you, in whatever contact you had with the teams, if you were aware of just the economy the NFL is in right now, with salary cap probably down, and what it means to you to get the money you got and the guaranteed money you got at a time when NFL teams aren't able to spend a ton of money.
So when initially it was some interest from other teams building up. But as we got down to the nitty-gritty, it wasn't too many calls coming through. But I was always focused on being back here. There was nowhere else I wanted to be. And I wasn't I knew the salary cap was a problem and it's going to be a problem. But I'm happy we was able to get it done at a fair rate, or not a fair, great rate for us and a great rate for them. I'm excited, man, and I'm just happy to be back. It's like no reason that I would ever want to leave down here, man. We're doing it right down here. We got a great group of guys. I'm excited to be here for another 4.
Shaq, I go back to the boat parade, and you're wearing the Doug Williams jersey, and you were kind of outspoken from the start in terms of making it clear you wanted to be back. How much do you think that helps with kind of keeping the whole gang together the way you guys have so far?
I think it helps for sure because we had a great team. Like we had a great team, and it's like no reason to not want to try to bring it back and try to do it again, but do it even better this time. And we like Jason Light, he's world class GM. I mean, I applaud every move he's been making since day one of me being here. Like he's been doing it the right way. He's been building steadily.
We had a championship team.
Now that we had a championship team, he's trying to bring it back to have a championship team again next year.
Usually,
so,
teams win.
Teams win. Let people go and walk. Because
usually demand higher salary than teams are willing to pay. But made it work. We moved some stuff around. Made some amazing deals.
Made some amazing deals with the other guys who was free. And,
there's no reason why we shouldn't.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be able
to get it done. Everybody from the top to the bottom of the organization here. Amazing, doing a great job.
And I just love it a lot.
You know, and you got to really appreciate hearing that. I mean, people want to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They did everything they told him that they would do, he said. And you don't find that a lot. That's a special, special thing when a player can find somebody, whether it's an individual or an organization, that keeps their word 100%. And boy, are we happy to have him back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in the Tampa Bay area. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to bring to you out of our Frankly Speaking Sports studio, like to welcome in former New England Patriot. He played in Super Bowl 20 back in the 80s. I remember real well when I lived in New England. Let's welcome in Tony Collins. Tony, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing fantastic. How you doing?
Tony, doing really, really, really good up there. You know, I'm not sure exactly where you're calling us from, but it's nice and warm. It's a little cold, 80-something degrees here today, but we're loving it down here in Florida.
Greenville, North Carolina, ECU, East Carolina University.
That's right. I know that. I know. I remember, man. Hey, let me ask you this, Tony. I think it was 1980, 1981 when we go back in time. Drafted by the New England Patriots. I believe it was the second round, the overall 47th pick. Try to, I know it's hard to remember, but there's certain things you don't forget in your life. Talk about that moment when you were drafted by the Patriots and what it meant to you.
Wow, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I remember watching the draft on my 12-inch black and white TV. Not too many people know what a 12-inch black and white TV is. Watching it on ESPN. I had gone to a combine, and my agent was telling me, and everybody was telling me I was going to get drafted maybe in the 4th or the 5th round, but it didn't matter. Just as long as I got drafted, I didn't care who was going to draft me. I just wanted to play in the NFL. It was a dream for me to play in the league. Everybody, every football player wants to get drafted, and it doesn't really matter where you get drafted at. So I remember watching it, and I'm waiting for the 4th or the 5th round to come around, and I'm watching the draft, and I see some of the guys that I went to the combine with get drafted, and I'm really excited for them because they got drafted. But I'm waiting for the 4th or the 5th round for me because that's what my agent had told me. And so second round comes in, and New England has the pick in the second round, and I'm watching, and so there's two people sitting at the New England Patriot table, and the camera zooms into the table, and I see one of the guys write the name Anthony Collins down on a piece of paper before they called my name. I was like, I wonder if there's another Anthony Collins in this draft. And as soon as I said that, I get the phone call, and my dreams come true. Drafted by the New England Patriots, second round in 1981. One of the best feelings in the world.
How much did the combine actually help your stock, you think, go quicker than you had anticipated?
I think the combine helped my stock a lot. I was there was a lot of good backs in that draft. Freeman McNeil, George Rogers, bunch of good backs that were in that draft, and I ran a 4.35 40 at the combine, which was I'm sorry, I ran a 4.45 40 at the combine, which was really good. But I did a lot of other things really good. Caught a lot of passes. Nobody didn't know I could catch the ball because at East Carolina we ran the wishbone and we never threw the ball, and so no one knew I could catch the ball. And a lot of the teams were looking at me to return kicks because I returned kicks while I was at East Carolina University. And the other thing I think really helped me out is all the agility drills. I did the bench 24 times. Reps 24 times was really good, and so I think that kind of put my stock up a little bit from being at the combine. Absolutely.
Now, how much faster, you're playing at East Carolina, how much faster when you got to the NFL? Obviously, there were bigger guys, stronger guys on the other side of the ball coming at you. How much of a faster game was it than the college game? You played the wishbone, so things did come at you pretty fast with that wishbone offense, but how much of a difference was it, and how difficult of a transition for you to play in the NFL?
To be totally honest, man, it really came easy for me. The transition from high school to college was a big difference for me because I come from a small high school from upstate New York, and coming down and playing in East Carolina, and everybody's fast, and so that I had to learn that, man, everybody's fast. Now I'm not the only one that's fast. Everybody's fast, and when I got to the league, I was so prepared. I was so ready to play. And the transition, I had learned how to block. I knew how to catch. And all I had to do really was learn the playbook. Once I got that playbook down, it was all over. When I got drafted in the third round, second round, and I was the third string running back. There was Vegas Ferguson was the number one running back. The year before, Vegas was rookie of the year, and so he was going to be the starting running back. And Horace Ivy from Oklahoma was the number 2 running back. And then there was this guy, Tony Collins from East Carolina University, was the number 3 running back. But you got to understand something. I've never been a number 3 running back in all my days playing football. So I'm thinking in my mind, I might be number 3 on paper, but I'm number 1 in my mind. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. I'm learning the playbook. I'm getting ready for my opportunity, because it was really an opportunity for me, because they drafted me to return kicks. That was the reason they drafted me.
Now, it was really weird because in 1982, I think it was 82, you broke your ankle. But in 1983, you had your best season as a running back, over 1,000 yards. You made the Pro Bowl. What was it about 1983 that just seemed to click, where I think you rushed for almost 1,100 yards, and, it was just an unbelievable year right off of an injury?
I don't think it was anything. It was just me, just learning the system. My rookie season, Ron Earhart was the head coach, and then we went 2-14. We had a rough year. Yep. And then Ron Myers came in from SMU, and Ron Myers was a college coach, and a lot of the older guys like John Hanna and Pete Brock and Russ Francis and a bunch of those guys didn't really kind of click with Ron Myers too much, because of he was a rah-rah coach, and these guys been in the league for a few years, and they weren't used to a rah-rah coach, and so they kind of bumped heads a little bit. But for me, it was like, it didn't really matter who was coaching. I just wanted to play. And so I didn't care about the rah-rah coach. So my third season, it just all came together. Learning to run behind John Hanna. It was not hard running behind John Hanna. He was the best in the league. So just everything just clicked for me my third year.
Yeah, and I remember those guys like it was yesterday. I lived the next town over from Foxborough in Sharon, Massachusetts. So I knew.
I lived in East.
I used to go to the games. Yep. So I used to go to the game. I think it was Schaefer Stadium actually at that time, or Sullivan Stadium. I can't remember.
Actually, when I played, it was Sullivan Stadium. They had changed it to Sullivan Stadium in '81. Yeah.
Right, but I remember all those games, and I remember John Hanna like it was yesterday. How was Steve Grogan as a quarterback? I know you got to play with him a little bit. I know Tony Eason was coming into his own a little bit at that time too. What was it like to play with Steve?
Steve was a professional. He was calm and just one of the toughest quarterbacks that you ever want to be around. You had a lot of confidence when Steve was in the game, and when Tony Eason came, and maybe Steve got hurt actually, and that's how Tony got the job back then. But Steve was the best, man. He was very calm and just a great guy to be with on and off the field. He's still a good friend of mine today. I do a golf tournament up back in my hometown, and he comes to it. He's been coming to it for a long time now.
Now, the Patriots have an amazing year in 1985. They go to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they lose. But how fulfilling was it? I mean, obviously, you're disappointed. You lose and that sort, but you work all your career to get to this point. How amazing was that New England Patriots team in 1985?
We had a great football team. We had on defense, we had Andre Tippett and Don Blackman and Roland James in the secondary, and Raymond Claiborne, and just a bunch of great guys on defense. We had a great offensive line. One of the things that was great about that year, we came into the playoffs. We kind of like sneaked into the playoffs. I think we were 10-6 that year. and so we were going to be the underdogs every game. We had to go on the road every game that we played because of our record. And our first playoff game was against the New York Jets, and no one thought we were going to beat New York that game. So we went down to New York and beat them. Then we had to fly out to L.A., the Raiders, and they had a great football team. You know, Marcus Allen, you know, Howie Long, the bunch of guys out there that they had. No one thought we were going to beat L.A. in L.A., and so we went out to L.A. and gave them a spanking, and then it was Miami. We hadn't won in Miami, I think, in maybe like 24 years or something like that, something crazy like that. And so no one thought we were going to go down to Miami and beat Miami in Miami. And by the way, that year, Miami was the only team to beat the Chicago Bears during the regular season. And so everybody wanted to see the Dolphins and the Chicago Bears in the playoffs because they thought that would be the better game. But we went down to Miami, man, and really, to be totally honest with you, that was our Super Bowl. When we went down there and won that game, man, we were so drained after that, and we played fantastic football. We played almost perfect football that game to win in the AFC Championship and being on our way to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and you know, it's a dream come true to. You know, every football player wants to play in the Super Bowl. Every football player wants to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately for us, when we got down there, we matched up. We didn't match up well with Chicago, and you know, it just didn't work out, man. But it was so exciting, that whole playoff scenario where we won all those games and then getting to the Super Bowl, one of the best times of our lives.
You know, in a little bit, Tony, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the book you wrote and about what you do today with kids and what you've done. But I want to lead up to it, Tony. In '82, when you got hurt, supposedly with your, well, not supposedly, you did get hurt with your ankle, but you started using some painkillers. And not that it makes it right, but so many other players do, it seemed to spiral out of control. Why don't you give us just a little?
Actually, it wasn't my ankle. I had cracked ribs at the beginning of the season, and so I had to make a decision. I don't know if anybody know how bad cracked ribs are. It's really painful. So I had to make a decision: either sit down and get my ribs healthy, and give somebody else a chance to take my job, because I was going to probably have to be out maybe 3 or 4 weeks, or I can take painkillers and keep playing. And so I chose the latter, and it was a mistake that I made. And you know, unfortunately for the players back then, man, we were getting painkillers left and right. We were getting from the trainers. The trainers were give us the painkillers, you know. So it wasn't like we were going someplace to get the painkillers. We would go right to the trainers, and they would give us the painkillers. And I got addicted to painkillers, and it was a thing where it was my choice. You know, no one forced me to stay on the field. It was my choice to stay on the field. But I was popping pills so much where, you know, I would go into a game, or maybe even in practice, I would go into a game and I would get hit on the ribs, but I didn't feel it because I was taking cortisone shots too before the game. I would take the shots before the game, and then I would take another shot at halftime. And so after the game is over and everything's wears off, and now I'm in excruciating pain because, you know, now I've been hit a couple of times. I don't feel it because, you know, I'm numb. And I, you know, taking no painkillers to go to sleep and to wake up. And one of the things another mistake that I made, one of the guys on the team said, man, you know, because the painkillers were making me sick, nauseated. And so one of the guys on the team said, man, you smoke some marijuana, it'll take the nauseousness away from you. So I had never smoked marijuana before. And so I did it. I smoked marijuana, and sure enough, the nauseousness goes away. And now I'm popping pills and I'm smoking marijuana. I was raised in the church coming up as a kid, didn't drink, didn't do nothing, man. And until then, and I just got hooked on the painkillers. And one of the things that I tell kids all the time, one of the keys of being successful is surrounding yourself with successful people. And so I stopped doing that. I was surrounding myself now with drug dealers, because now I got to get marijuana. Then the marijuana led to the cocaine, and so on and so on. And I found myself getting caught twice. And my second time, I think it was in 87 or 88, getting caught. The Patriots released me. One of the saddest days of my life, but it was my fault. I can't blame anybody because of my things that I was going through off the field. And the very next day, I get released from New England. And the very next day, the Indianapolis Colts, they picked me up, and I'm with Indianapolis, and so this is the kicker, and it's a crazy story, but this is how it went. I get to Indianapolis, and I'm in the backfield with Eric Dickerson, and Ron Myers is there. That's one of the reasons I got connected with Indianapolis, because Ron Myers was there, and he picked me up the very next day when New England released me. And so I'm in the backfield with Eric Dickerson, and everything's great, man. But before training camp starts, I go to see Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, and they fly me up to New York, and I got to meet with the commissioner, because now they're saying, listen, Tony, because before they were random testing us, and they said to me, so Tony, we're going to test you now every single day because we don't want you to fail. Okay, so you're going to get tested every single day. To me, it was like, okay, I got it, no problem. I understand my situation. If I mess up, I'm gonna get suspended for a whole year. And sure enough, man, everything was going well. I was having a great camp. I was having a fantastic camp. 3 weeks into the camp, I make a decision or a choice to go to a party after a game. And it was a choice that I made. And I tell kids all the time, man, you can make a 1,000 great choices and make one bad choice, and everybody's going to remember you because of that bad choice. And I made a choice to go to a party. It was just a little party that I was going to go to. I knew there was going to probably be different things, marijuana, smoking there, whatever, but I'm not going to do anything because I know I have a drug test the very next day. So I can't do anything. And so I get to the party. Sure enough, they're smoking marijuana and doing whatever. But I'm just really chilling. Now everything is going fine. I know I got to take a drug test the next day. Not going to let anything happen because I know if anything does happen, I'm going to get suspended for a whole year. And so I accomplish it. I get back to my dorm. Everything's fine. I wake up the next morning. I go out. I take my test. I go out and have practice, have another good practice, wake up the next morning, and Ron Myers calls me into his office and says, I tested positive for marijuana. And I was like, what? And to understand afterwards that, it's secondhand smoke, man. I got caught on secondhand smoke because I made a choice to go to this party. If I would have stayed in my dorm and stayed in my room, I would have made it. But it was the choice that I made. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying that they should have tested me better or whatever. But it was secondhand smoke, and I get suspended for a whole entire year. And I got reinstated. I come back and I played my last year with the Miami Dolphins. I got a chance to play for Shula and be in the backfield with Dan Marino. And, it was pretty cool that year. But after that year, I left the NFL, and I really felt like a failure, man. To be totally honest with you, I thought I let my mom and dad down and a lot of people down, my hometown and different things like that. And it was a really sad time for me. Now I'm out of football, and it was rough, man. And I went through 18 years of being this negative person. Just thinking negative all the time, and just everything bad was happening. And man, I would stay clean for 4 or 5 months, and then I would slip. I would stay clean for 6 months. I would slip. I would stay clean for a year. I would slip. And so, I was just going back and forth, and until one day, I know for a fact that the reason I'm still here today is because of God. I'm a big believer in God, and I know God directed me to. It's a long story, but it's in the book if you want to get the book. I fell in love with this woman from San Antonio, Texas, and she changed my life, man. She got me starting to believe positive. My wife Trudy today, she's my wife today, and it's a crazy story, even how I met her. And if you read the book, you would know that it's nothing but God. It's how we met is just a God thing, and how I'm still here talking to you right now.
Right.
It's a God thing. So I'm so blessed today. So excited to be alive, man. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying my grandkids and enjoying my kids. We've been doing my foundation been doing a golf tournament up in my hometown for the last 12 years. We missed last year because of COVID, and so hopefully we can get that thing back going again. And I'm just living the best life ever, man. I want to encourage kids all the time and do whatever I can to. I didn't know that my book. I wrote my book to help kids to not to make the mistakes that I made, and to find out that not only did it help kids, it helped a lot of older kids too.
But Tony, when did you come to that decision? I mean, something stirred up in your brain to say, I need to tell others my story. What made you decide to tell other people and come out and write a book so that other people, you can hopefully help other people that have similar situations as you maybe overcome them?
After I met my wife, we got married and we started living together, and I went back to school. When I got drafted in '81, I didn't graduate from college, and I had like maybe some 3 or 4 credits I had to get, but finally when I went back, I had to go for a whole year to do all my classes to graduate. And so I went back to school, came back down here to East Carolina, and we've been down here now for maybe like 13 years. And so after I graduated from college, I said, you know what, man, I want to tell my story. I just really think that it's a great story for people to know about and people to hear. And I started the foundation, and after I started the foundation, a couple of years after that, I got with a great author, Bethany Bradshaw, she's a super person that helped me with the book. And I just wanted to, like I said, I shouldn't be here, and a lot of times I question, God, why me? Why I didn't die like a lot of other people have died, or if anybody's gone through the situation, some of the things that I went through, you were like, man, you're a lucky guy. And I don't call it lucky. I just call it blessed that, God spared my life for a reason. And so I wanted to help other people. And the main goal was to help kids. I started speaking around the country and just going to high schools and just trying to help as many people as possible. And I think that's one of the things that's been instilled in me now, that I'm here to help. I just want to help people not go through the things that I went through. And I'm just so thankful today that everything worked out for me.
Tony, I know you're not trying to justify in any way, shape, or form, as you mentioned many times, but I have to ask this question because it baffles me a little bit. Did the NFL, whether it was the New England Patriots or the Colts back then, ever offer you any type of help, whether it was before you stopped playing or after you stopped playing in the NFL?
I mean, they did with New England. I went when I got caught the first time. Actually, when I got caught the first time, New England actually, got me into a rehab place. I stayed there for 30 days or whatever. I mean, they tried to help, and and the rehab thing was fine, but you leave the rehab place, and and you get back into real society, and see that's the one of the things that I write in my book. It's so important who you hang around with. It's so important what you think about. Your mind is so powerful, and if you're thinking bad thoughts, you're going to do bad things, and if you're thinking good thoughts, you're going to do good things, and that's something that I didn't have. I didn't know how to do it back then. I didn't know how to control my thought life, and when you control your thought life, you're a powerful person when you're able to control your thought life, and now I can do that, and so again, I'm just so thankful, man, and just to be here talking to you. And
Tony, where can people get this book?
You can. It's the book is called Broken Road: Turning My Mess into a Message. You can go to Amazon, but if you go to Amazon, you're not going to get an autograph. But if you go to my Facebook page, you go to my Facebook page and you DM me on my Facebook page, and it's really easy to find me. Is when you write in Tony Collins on Facebook, the football player is going to pop up. And if you DM me on that, I can get you a book, and you'll get it signed. And we do. I like doing it that way because I want to sign the book. I want to make it personal for the person that I give the book to. It's only $15. You get a signed book, and that takes care of delivery and everything. So you go to my Facebook page and DM me on Facebook, and I would love to get your book out and maybe help you change your life. And that's the thing. And see, here's the other crazy thing. How I know how God has what God has done in my little hometown. And my hometown is called Penn Yan, New York, and it's like about 50 or 55 miles south of Rochester in upstate New York. And so in my little hometown, they've had a bad drug problem in this little hometown. And I was like, this is so crazy how my little hometown is having a drug problem. And now I can go back and try to share my story to the kids in my hometown. And that's why that one other thing why we started the foundation there. And we just try to give back and have different things for kids to do in the area. It's not a big place, but it's a great place to live. It's right on the lake, Cuca Lake, man. I didn't know how beautiful my hometown was until I left it and came back. And so that's how that story goes.
Tony, before I let you run, and this is a remarkable story, I wish we had more time to speak. You talk about your foundation, how you're giving back, how you're trying to teach others from your mistake. Any thought about maybe after things get settled down, going into maybe coaching football and teaching through your experience some athletes that might be having similar trouble?
I had thought about that before, but now I got a few grandkids, man, and I just want to enjoy my grandkids, enjoy my family. I still do some engagements, not as many as I used to do. I'm getting old, man. I'll be 62, and I know that's not old, but I'll be 62 in May.
I'm catching you.
But my thing now is just enjoy life with my foundation and keep doing my foundation, keep giving back, because that's what I believe that God has saved my life to do.
Well, listen, it's a remarkable story, and as far as we're concerned, you came out on the good side.
Yes,
of
sir.
It all. I mean, it took bumps, it took bruises, but you showed people that you can go from being what you were to what you are now today, and it's an incredible story. And I want to thank you so very much for giving us an opportunity to listen to your story here on Frankly Speaking Sports.
Thank you for having me. You guys get me on again.
We'd love to have you, buddy, anytime.
You're gonna go to the Tampa Bay game when they play New England up there this year?
Actually, I already told my wife I'm going. I don't know how many. They're not allowing full capacity yet. I will be part of the capacity. But she already knows we're going up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to that game too. Yeah, I want to see that one.
That'll be incredible. Well, listen, be safe. If you ever need anything, you know we're here for you, my friend.
All right, thanks, man. You guys have a good night.
You too. Be safe. That was Tony Collins, former running back of the New England Patriots. What a remarkable story. I'll tell you what, and the most remarkable thing is, folks, they've overcome it. They know what it's like. They've been there, and they can educate you on not just things they might have heard, but things that they've experienced, these athletes. We've had Randy Grimes on. We had other athletes like Ernest Graham on. And, we just had Tony Collins on. And they've overcome this because they got help. And not only did they receive help, now they're helping others accomplish something that is so close to their heart. And I just give him all the kudos in the world for being able to hang in there, make it, and now educate others. To give back and say, listen, I've been there. You don't want to do this. Let me show you the way. Just an incredible platform he uses to help others out. Incredible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I told you before we leave, we are going to talk a little bit about USF women's basketball. And if you haven't heard, the USF women's basketball team, and I'm just getting my notes here, has made the March Madness, the Women's March Madness tournament, and they will be playing this Sunday night, 9:30 p.m. They're going to be playing Washington State, who was 9-10 in the conference, 12-11 overall. And, it's amazing because when you look at this, you see this team, they're the number 8 seed in their sectionals. And I know some people are saying, well, is this the right seed? Did they get screwed? Did they get snubbed? What's going on with the committee? Let me tell you this, folks. It don't matter when the heck you get seeded or where the heck you get seeded. You are in this tournament. You have made the tournament. That's all you need to do. You know what? You don't worry about it. You don't worry where you're seated. You don't worry who's ahead of you. You don't worry who's behind you. You worry about going out there, executing your game plan, and playing the best basketball that you can play. If I'm USF, and you know what? I keep that to myself. I go out there and I shut everybody up by playing winning basketball and going far in this tournament. There is no better way to shove it in their face than to go out there and win the basketball game. Don't worry about your seed. You worry about winning basketball games. And let me explain something to you. I'm not going to sit here and I tell you that I think USF got the right seeding, okay? But nevertheless, understand this is a team that lost 2 of the last 4 games that they played. They lost to Houston. They lost to UCF. Now, they went ahead, they went in the tournament, did not play well into the tournament until I think it was the 4th quarter of that Tulane game when Maria Alvarez went off and hit 3 3-pointers in the 4th quarter. Lisa Pinzon hit 6 for 6 free throws. Sydney Harvey went ahead and hit 2. They were 8 for 8 in the 4th quarter in free throws. That's when you finally got to see this team starting to play basketball since they were off for those 30 days because of the pandemic. They haven't played well since they were off. They finally started doing it. Then in the game versus UCF to win the AAC tournament, they went off again. They shot 96% free throws, 40% from the field, over 30% three-pointers. That was the USF basketball team that we are so accustomed to watching. But you have to understand something, folks. I'm sorry to say it, but this is a one-dimensional team. This is a team that lives and dies by the three-pointers. If Maria Alvarez or Sanicki or Pinzon even Monunga at times, Sidney Harvey, if they're not hitting these 3-pointers, they're not very successful. They don't go inside a lot to Monunga where she puts in the ball. Although in that Tulane game, when they weren't hitting threes, I love the adjustments Coach Fernandez made, starting to throw the ball a little bit more inside, having Monunga make a basket, having to go to the free throw lines a couple of times and sink some free throws. Now you got to remember, overall, this team is a 72% free throw team for the USF, which is not terrible, but it's not great. I'm a firm believer if you want to win tournament games in the NCAA, you got to be right about 80%. And the last 2 games, they were at over 80%. Last game, I think it was 96%. So just amazing. Their field goal is only 37% of for the season, which isn't terrific. But I think the one thing that USF has to do to be successful and to shut people up in this tournament and to prove how well they are is they have to eliminate their turnovers. Okay? Right now, USF off of turnovers by the other team is averaging 12.7 points. Their opponents are averaging 13.3. They cannot have this 19 turnovers a game and expect to win ball games. They got to be closer to that number 10. I'm sorry, but that's where they got to be. You got the rebounding. You got Bethany Monunga. She shoots at 72% free throws. You got the Alvarezes, the Pinzons, the Harveys that are all in the 80%. I mean, obviously, Shea Leverett I know, suffers from the free throw line, but this is a team where if they're not hitting the threes, they got to move that ball around a little bit more and go for some twos that are there. I'll tell you what I've noticed about this USF team. When they run the ball down the court, they sometimes have a tendency to not get set before shooting a shot. Although it's an open shot, they're not set to take that shot. What happens is they take an uncontrollable open shot. Instead of pushing the ball around a little bit to the open person and then either shooting the 3 or the 2, whatever it might be. When they pass that ball around the perimeter and it doesn't touch the ground, it's a thing of beauty. Last game, 15 assists. That's where you want to be at. 15 or more assists in a game shows you are moving that basketball around to the open individual. And that's what they need to do and need to continue to do. Eliminate turnovers, and they got to hit their shots. If they are open, make sure they're controlled, and you got to hit them, guys. Coach Fernandez can't hit the shots for you. At the end of the day, you have to hit your shots, and that's what happened in the UCF game. They were hitting over 40%. They were hitting from a lot of different areas on the outside, and they won the game. But the key in tournament basketball, and I've said this all year long, and I'll say it again, comes down to making your free throws. The reason why they won the AAC tournament was because of free throws. What they hit, something like 17 or 14 free throws in that UCF game. Then in the game before versus Tulane to get them into the final game, they hit 8 of 8 in the fourth quarter. Free throws will either make it or break it for you. And you have to learn and you have to be calm and concentrate and hit those free throws. Now, once again, this Washington team is coached by, I believe it is Kami Etheridge, if I'm correct. I'm doing that by memory. This team gives up 63.7 points a game. Washington State does. The good news is our aggressive style defense has only given up about 54 points a game. So that is good news for the South Florida Bulls. WSU is led by freshman guard Jalisi Lega Walker, who is averaging 18.9 points per game. This is the first time that Washington State has been in an NCAA tournament, I believe, in 30 years. So, this is a game that, no game's easy in the tournament. On any given night, any given team can win. And once again, going back where the seed is. The hell with the seed. Forget about that. You go out there. You show them that the USF Bulls women's basketball team is made of. You shove it down their throat, and you show them by playing great executional basketball, hitting your free throws, and not creating more turnovers than you are allowing in this game. Before we let you go, let's hear a little bit from the coach himself on getting to the NCAA.
I want to thank everybody for being on this Zoom as we're zooming here after the selection show. But I'm excited for our team. We got back and we were off Friday and Saturday, and last 2 days we had 2 really, really good days of practice. And we fly out tomorrow morning at 10:45. So we're looking forward to getting to San Antonio, and now shifting our focus to the final phase of our season. That's the most important phase, the NCAA tournament.
Okay, questions for Coach Fernandez. Chris Torello, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Just your overall thoughts on the seeding. I know it's different than a couple of years past where, regional, you go up to Tallahassee. It's not exactly thrilling. What's your take on your team seed and just kind of how this is so much different than other tournaments?
Well, I think, in tournaments in the past, you can move up and down a seed line because of geographic location. So now, Chris, as far as the seeding, usually it goes on an S curve. So you'd like to see, all right, where were we in the conversation? I don't think the UCF loss hurt us. All right. Did the Houston loss come into play? What did we drop? Because, I thought we'd be anywhere in the vicinity of 5 to 7. But you know what? For us to get to that second weekend, you're gonna have to win 2 really, really good games. So the only thing is, we were the AAC regular season champs. We were the AAC tournament champs. And, that garners an 8. I don't know what we could have done. What we could have done differently, right? We went out and we had played 4 non-conference games. Our non-conference schedule we would have gotten a lot more other opportunities. But you know what? My staff and our kids are really, really excited.
Another opportunity to represent this university in the NCAA tournament. We're going to do that.
All righty, that was Coach Fernandez talking about the NCAA coming up. Now, what a great show we had. We got to talk about the Buccaneers free agency. We heard from Levante David. We heard from Shaq Barrett. We had Coach Fernandez on for a Zoom call. And what a great, great, great interview we had with Tony Collins. If any of you did not get an opportunity to see that amazing, just amazing interview with Tony, please go back and rewatch our episode of Frankly Speaking Sports or share it to your friends. Just an incredible show. We want to thank Tony so very much for allowing the opportunity to us to have him on our show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, also, as you saw over the past weekend, this weekend was our 1-year anniversary of Frankly Speaking Sports. And on behalf of the entire crew here at Frankly Speaking Sports, as well as myself, I want to thank everybody who has made this possible. I mean, it's been 1 year now. We've had, I believe, close to 300 interviews that we done in the past year on Frankly Speaking Sports with former athletes or current athletes or coaches on Frankly Speaking Sports. So it's been an incredible ride. We hope year 2 is just as much fun and interesting for all of you. Once again, thank you all very much, and we'll see you again tomorrow on another